Chris Green produced his best T20 figures, including a hat-trick, but it was still not enough to prevent Middlesex from slipping to a 16-run defeat in Kent. Bowling first after winning the toss, the visitors made an impressive start, with Blake Cullen earning his maiden T20 wicket as Daniel Bell-Drummond chipped to Owen Morgan. And a second scalp for the youngster arrived next ball as Joe Denley was well held behind by John Simpson. Kent stuttered to 42 for 3 in the power play, Stephen Finn producing pace and bounce to see off Ollie Robinson. And when Green grabbed his first scalp of the evening, some more excellent work by Simpson, removing Alex Blake, the Spitfires were treading water on 46 for 4. That got to 69 for 4 at the halfway stage, Jordan Cox going after Nathan Souter to increase the run rate. Cox and Jack Leaning then began to turn the tables as they established a crucial partnership for the 5th wicket. Neither batsman took too many risks as they worked the ball around well, the occasional boundary helping their cause. Cox clearing the rope to reach a half-century from 35 deliveries. Leaning also made it to 50, also doing it with a maximum, he reaching his mark of 38 balls. The 5th wicket stand was now into 3 figures and the total at 170 for 4 as we moved into an extraordinary final over. It began with Cox on 64 scooping a low full toss from Green to Max Holden. The 3rd ball was hit over the rope by Leaning, who moved on to 64, while the 4th saw him slice the spinner to Morgan. The next ball was fired in and Simpson again showed off his skills with the gloves, stumping Darren Stevens. And a delivery with a similar trajectory but at a reduced pace then saw Matt Milnes taken by Ethan Bamber, a hat-trick for Green and final figures of 5 for 32, a career best, and one which would have caused a buzz in the visiting dressing room. But they still had to chase down Kent's total of 178 for 8, and that looked to be a tough ask after Stevie Eskenazi nicked off to Denley to the 3rd ball of the reply. Paul Stirling then fell to the first ball he faced, the Irishman not getting enough on his shot off James Logan. 5 wickets had now fallen in 10 deliveries. There now had to be some care and attention for Morgan and Holden, who first had to learn from the way Leaning and Cox had batted and bide their time, picking off boundaries when they could. That they did in the power play, which ended with a reply on 39 for 2. Morgan then went after Stevens, only to lose Holden 2 balls later. He'd taken behind for 10 at 48 for 3. And this is when the game was lost. In the next over, the 8th, Simpson on 4 mistimed a hit off Leaning to Logan, and then Morgan timed a shot off Stevens beautifully, but directed it too close to Bell-Drummond and was on his way for a runner ball 27. It meant with 10 overs to go, Middlesex were on 66 for 5 and needed to find a further 113 runs. Luke Hollman certainly hadn't given up the fight, however, as he took 15 from over number 12. Green was just looking as if this was going to be his night by whacking Stevens out of the park. But next ball he dragged one back onto his stumps and departed for 16, his side on 98 for 6. The target was brought down to 55 thanks to this 6 for Souter, but there were now only 4 overs left to get them in. That became 34 off 2 as Hollman moved into the 40s with this shot of Grant Stewart. There was still a slimmer of hope. Hollman could certainly hold his head up high. In his 9th blast outing, he reached a 50 for the first time with his 7th 4. He'd taken 32 balls to complete it in difficult circumstances. But his next ball was his last as he slogged to long off, needing a maximum to give his side a sniff. Instead, Middlesex needed 25 from the last over. They managed 8 and lost Cullen, taken on the boundary's edge. The visitors ending on 162 for 8. Souter left stranded on 31. That meant a loss by 16 runs. They play again on Tuesday as cricket returns to Radlett, where Hampshire are the visitors.